On March 5, 2025, South Korea and Poland signed a cooperation agreement which outlined their relations in the areas of politics, economy, defense, and culture through 2028. Strategic partners since 2013, South Korea has become a major supplier of weapons to Poland in recent years, as the latter carries out a massive investment program to modernize its armed forces. In fact, Poland is said to be the largest recipient of Korean military equipment worldwide. Various sources have cited South Korea's defense industry as having rapid production capabilities and, most importantly, offering high-quality, affordable weapons. With Poland having invested so deeply in South Korean equipment, this makes us wonder, is it time for some or all of the Baltic states to consider the same? We discussed this topic for today's video. This video will be split into two parts. We'll first look at how Poland has grown close to South Korea's defense industry, and this will be followed by an analysis of whether or not the Baltics should consider similar moves. And so, starting with our first half, Polish Foreign Minister Radek Sikorski told reporters the following in March. Poland is the largest recipient of Korean military equipment worldwide, and we would like to further develop this cooperation with the prospect of relocating production and technology transfer to Poland, adding, Poland can also serve as a hub for further promotion of Korean military equipment in Europe and for the rebuilding of Ukraine. As noted by the Indo-Pacific Defense Forum, Warsaw's planned acquisitions from South Korea include K-2 Black Panther tanks, K-9 Thunder self-propelled howitzers, Fa-50 light combat aircraft, and K-239 Chunmoo multiple rocket launch systems. The Polish Institute of International Affairs reported in October 2024 that to date, the value of arms contracts signed on the basis of the General 2022 framework agreements is estimated at $16.6 billion. Contracts include the purchase of the following: 180 K-2 tanks by 2025, 364 K9/K9PL self-propelled howitzers by 2027, 290 K-239 Chunmoo multiple rocket launchers by 2029, and 48 Fa-50/Fa-50PL light combat aircraft by 2028. Earlier this year, we also had news that Poland had ordered another 180 K-2 tanks. At the time of the 2024 report, Poland had taken delivery of over 60 tanks, over 100 self-propelled guns, nearly 50 rocket launchers, and about a dozen aircraft. Surely numbers have changed since then and/or by the time you're watching this video. Technology transfer was discussed in the March 2025 agreement, and it's something that we're already seeing between the two countries. In October 2024, one of Poland's leading arms manufacturers signed a contract with South Korean defense firm Hanwha Aerospace to produce missiles domestically to be used by K-239 Chunmoo rocket artillery systems, or HOMAR-K rocket system, the Polish adaptation of K-239. The deal includes technology transfers, licensing agreements, and the construction of a new factory. The facility is expected to produce several thousand missiles annually. We may not mention all of the technology transfer agreements in place between the two countries, but we also know that there's a technology transfer deal involving Polish steelworks Stalowa Wola and Hanwha Aerospace to allow for servicing and repairing K-9 howitzers purchased by the Polish army. It was stated that in the future, Poland will strive to have K-9 howitzers produced domestically. The Polish Deputy Defense Minister said at the time that ultimately Poland is to become a repair and service hub for Korean military equipment used by European armies. So, is this something that the Baltic nations can consider for themselves as well? The first thing to consider is timeframe. Now, as we discovered in our reporting on a potential sale of K-9 self-propelled howitzers to Canada, South Korean arms seem to be available faster than compared to equivalents being produced by European defense firms,
promising to equip the Canadian Brigade in Latvia within months.
We can deliver the K-9 systems, at least the one battalion or so the one regiment. We can prepare within 12 months from the contract.
Delivery times of equipment have been a main concern, primarily among the Baltic nations who believe that they are the next target after Ukraine. Europe has only recently been rebuilding its defense industries, primarily since the Trump administration took office in the United States and changed its tone towards European security. This has led to interesting headlines like this, which state, Rheinmetall may use Volkswagen plant to produce tanks. As reported on March 18th, German military giant Rheinmetall is considering taking over one of Volkswagen's soon-to-be unused plants as the defense firm seeks additional production capacity in Germany. Retooling these plants and finding the necessary workforce will take some time, but South Korea seems like it's ready to deliver even faster than European firms can ramp up production. Cost seems to be another thing to consider, and South Korea could win here as well. Using just one example, Poland's Ministry of National Defense signed a contract to buy 72 K2-39 missile launchers from South Korea for roughly $1.6 billion. Lithuania purchased 8 HIMARS systems from the United States for $495 million. That breaks down to $22 million per K2-39 system, while it's closer to $62 million per unit of the HIMARS system. It's notable that both deals included ammunition and related equipment. The Poland-Korea deal also included the transfer of technology of the MRL launch modules. Sure, Poland is likely getting an exceptional deal due to ordering many more systems and other South Korean equipment, but that's still a huge difference in price. But it's notable that South Korea already has some presence in the Baltics, with about 24 K9 systems being used by Estonian defense forces. Neighboring Finland uses the K9 as well. Considering some technology transfer has already taken place to support these systems, it would somewhat make sense to build on what has already been established. Additionally, as was mentioned by the Polish Deputy Defense Minister in 2024, the country hopes to become a repair and service hub for Korean military equipment used by European armies. Having such facilities already established by the time the Baltics get their hypothetical South Korean tanks or rocket launchers could prove useful. Despite many apparent positives, a large portion of any defense deal is likely to involve some politics as an influence. Thus, maintaining close ties to European allies through supporting respective defense industries may overshadow faster delivery times or cheaper equipment. Lithuania has already invested deeply in German equipment like the PZH-2000 and the Boxer, and it will soon welcome defense giant Rheinmetall into the country with the establishment of an ammunition facility. And then, of course, Germany has committed to stationing a brigade in the country. With all of this in mind, Lithuania will want to remain on good terms with Germany, and that'll probably include supporting German defense industry. Additionally, with several American battalions deployed across the Baltics, it does make sense to keep the Americans happy with continued purchases of US equipment, if only to make sure those American units continue to rotate through and act as a deterrent. And while South Korea is developing a wheeled version of its K9 self-propelled howitzer, it also makes sense to buy the Caesar and keep France happy. Ultimately, and perhaps unfortunately, decisions on acquiring equipment are more than just quality, effectiveness, and cost per unit, and international relations do come into play as well. It does also make sense to spend more locally and support defense capability in the broader region than to depend on a partner that's half a world away. But Poland simply appears to have the military budget to enable its big bet on South Korean equipment. But we'd love to know what you think of such a possibility. Should the Baltics be more closely considering equipment from South Korea? Let us know by leaving a comment.